Hello everyone, I hope that you are all having a great week. So this week's painting is a full, completely rendered painting. So I really wanted to focus and see just how tight and how picky I could be with this piece. I wanted to see if it would really look like a finished piece, because I know some of the pieces in my sketchbook do look as though they could be finished. However, I do definitely see flaws in those pieces, and I could definitely keep working on them. I generally stop around the 6-hour mark in my sketchbook just because otherwise it gets a little excessive. But for this completely finished piece, I went ahead and I worked on it for, I would say, about 2 to 3 days, maybe a little bit longer, maybe closer to like 4. And I think it took me like a solid 10 hours, 10 and a half hours, which I thought was pretty good. There are some pieces in my sketchbook that definitely took me around that same amount of time. So, I had a lot of fun with this piece. It is a portrait of me. I wouldn't say that it's a self-portrait, but it's actually funny. I managed to decide to do a completely rendered, finished piece, and it's a photo of me in my pajamas. So, yeah, definitely could have been a little bit better planned out, but I really liked the lighting of the photo. I had just been walking through my house, and in the mirror I saw that the lighting looked really nice with the shadow of my glasses, and I decided to take a picture, and naturally that was the one that I decided to paint. But I really did have a lot of fun painting this piece. The glasses, I think, make the whole piece look like the shadow on the face and the glasses and everything. I think it just helps to create the three-dimensional look. And yeah, I'm quite satisfied with it. I ended up using the same black and white gouache as I always use. The paintbrushes, I believe I used all the same Princeton Select. I do have a couple of like no name, just really cheap paintbrushes from like Michael's or Hobby Lobby or something, so nothing fancy there. However, I did use different paper. As you can tell, it is not in my sketchbook. I used the Canson Heritage Hot Press Watercolor Paper, and I love this paper. I've mentioned it a few times in the past, and I just think it's so gorgeous. I love working with this paper so much. There's something that's just so luxurious about this paper. It's velvety. It feels more like a fabric or a textile than it does an actual piece of paper. So I love working with it. I think it's really gorgeous. It makes your piece look really, really beautiful. And overall, I would absolutely suggest using this paper. If you've never used it before, I would definitely tell you to go ahead and try it, because honestly, it's some of the nicest paper I've ever used. And yeah, I am pretty satisfied. This one was quite a bit larger than some of the pieces that I've worked on previously. Actually, I think this is my largest piece I've done so far. So it's an 8x10, and usually the pieces in my sketchbook are around maybe a 9x6, maybe a little bit smaller than that, some of them. So it was a little bit challenging because I had to use larger tiles, which totally makes sense, but I just didn't even think about using larger tiles and having to blend that all in together. But yeah, I think that it worked out really nice. I definitely learned quite a bit about this piece. One thing I have to say is that later on in the video, I do end up zooming in and completely showing you full time, and that's because I wanted to show you just how long it takes for me to do one of these pieces. 10 hours, it sounds like a long time, but I don't know, when you really think about it and you think about how long 10 hours is to be working on the same project, that is a long time. And that's nothing compared to what some, oil painters put into their pieces. Usually like 100 hours is typical for an oil piece. So 10 hours is nothing. So, but yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a glimpse and see, really what goes into blending. That's typically what I show you is, the blending process. something that a lot of people think is when you blend with gouache, you're using a lot of water to blend, the two colors together or the two tiles together, because that's really how it works with watercolor. You need a lot of water to blend everything together and to soften all of your edges. However, with gouache, it's not really the case. You want to have an almost dry brush, and it really just reactivates so easily with a dry brush that or just like barely damp. Like, you really don't need it to be that wet at all. So that was something that I kind of got hung up on with this piece, which is kind of strange because I never had that issue before. I think it's just because the piece is so much larger than what I'm used to working on. And yeah, I would say, looking at the piece right now, the only thing that I would really change is I would add some pieces that are a little bit darker. I would up the contrast just a tiny bit, especially in the hair. I do believe I could have gone darker in there, but that's, really just, minimal changes. There's nothing structurally that I would change about it, nothing about that. Another thing that I had some issues with were the tiles themselves. I don't know what my problem has been recently, but I really want to put thin tiles down. And if you've ever worked with gouache, then you know that you just cannot reactivate thin layers. They are permanent. They are stuck there forever. So that was really my number one issue. Looking at the piece up close, you can tell that some of my tiles are pretty thin, and that really bothers me a lot. I don't like it when it looks like that. So I might just go back and fix some of those tiles as well. But again, it's not a huge, massive, long process or anything that really needs to be taken care of. If I wanted to leave it, I could. It's not the end of the world. It wouldn't look too bad. But if I want to fix it, then it's probably maybe like an hour or two fix for both, adding in the darks and adding in some, thicker tiles. It wouldn't take me forever. So tomorrow, thank God, I have the day off from work because we're expecting a huge snowstorm, which is crazy because usually this time of year we don't get like really big snowstorms. Usually that happens in July. But I mean, sometimes we'll get some big ones in March too. You can never really say that we never get anything, like, you never know. Especially in upstate New York, you never really know when you're gonna get snow, or how much you're gonna get. So I guess tomorrow, or Wednesday, we're supposed to get completely hammered, like a foot of snow, which would be the biggest snowstorm we've had all year. We did just actually get a lot of snow this past Sunday. We were only supposed to get like 1 to 3 inches, but we ended up getting around 8 inches of snow. So thankfully, I have the day off from work. I can kind of sit around in the house and hang out and be warm and comfortable, and hopefully I won't have to go out in the snow. I don't really mind driving in the snow. It's not my favorite thing, and I don't necessarily want to leave the house if I don't have to. And that goes for any day. It doesn't matter the weather. If I don't have to leave the house, then I won't. But yeah, I'm excited to see how much snow we're supposed to get. I'm also kind of excited that I don't have to work and it's a snow day. I love being home on snowy days and, just staying in your comfy clothes and your slippers and, grabbing a blanket and some hot cocoa and watching TV or reading a book or watching a movie or something. Or I could paint, That's also a good idea. Actually, speaking of painting in my sketchbook, I actually only have a couple pages left, so I'm so excited to be finished, and I don't know what I'm gonna do after. I've really been thinking about changing it up. I feel like I've gotten a pretty good grasp on gouache painting. I feel very confident in my black and white pieces, and yeah, I don't really see why I should fill up another full sketchbook of black and white pieces. So I don't know what I'm gonna do in my next sketchbook. I would like to do colored gouache, but I'm not really sure. I might take a break. I find it to be quite valuable when I change up the pace of my drawing and painting. So if I flop back and forth, like last couple months I was painting a lot, maybe the next sketchbook I'll be doing a lot more drawing. And of course, you know, I didn't just paint in my sketchbook now. I did do some drawings, but yeah, but I find that I catch on a little bit better, and I tend to grasp a little bit better, you know, the painting if I just take a break from it, start something new, and then when I go back to it, it feels refreshed and not so stale and stagnant, if that made any sense at all. But yeah. Sorry, I'm totally out of it today, and I just can't seem to put any sentences together. So on that note, I think I'm gonna end the video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I really would like to pick up my pace and really start uploading some more, but yeah, it's just me. I'm not in the mindset to be painting or drawing right now. I just don't feel it. I'm not feeling it. Or when I do paint or draw, I don't really want to have a camera and having the pressure of painting with really having someone look over your shoulder. That's kind of what it feels like. So I feel like all of my brush strokes need to be perfect when I'm on camera, and that's so stupid. I should not be like that because editing out is easy and who cares if I make mistakes and you guys see it? Like, it should not be a big deal, but I don't know what my problem is. I'm hoping that with my new sketchbook, whatever I decide to start working in it, I will do some a little bit less time-consuming pieces, because the pieces in the sketchbook, as I said before, are between like 6 to 10 hours a piece on one sheet of paper, which is crazy when you think about a sketchbook page. So I would like to take a little bit less time on these pieces, or at least do more than one portrait per page. But yeah, I would love to show you guys my sketchbook tour when I'm finished, and to give you guys a glimpse into, so that you can see all of the work that I made over the past few months. I started the sketchbook in July, but I stopped using it for a couple months because I really bought it for a camping sketchbook to paint and draw while I was camping. But as you know, the weather camping did not cooperate, so I just kind of left it. And then I think it was November, I really picked it up again and I started working in it. Since then, I've managed to fill up the whole sketchbook from November until now. It's February 6th and I only have like 2 pages left. So that was really exciting. I've never really finished a whole sketchbook before in that amount of time. Like, I was very zealous about these gouache paintings. I was very into it, and I really loved working on them. So until then, I will see you guys next time. Bye.